Well, heck, it's raining out there. I'm over here in the train room. The house is over there. And it kind of comes and goes. It's coming up from the southwest, south-southwest, so. Had a little bit of rain for a couple hours this morning, and then now it hasn't been raining for several hours, and now it came up again a little bit of showers. It's these nice soaking rains, you know, the stuff that makes the grass really grow and makes you have to do things like mow the lawn. Well, howdy and welcome back to the Withlacoochee River Railroad, and once again, it's time for the report. I don't have much to report this week. I will tell you that we have the train show coming up next Saturday, or 2 weeks from yesterday. I'm sorry, it'll be on the 12th. It'll be in Crystal River, Florida. It's a Regal show. It will be, of course, the show itself will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We try to get there a little early and try to see if we can get some deals a little early, you know, as we're setting up our tables. We're looking at everybody else's tables, you know. You know how that goes. I've got that nice Western Pacific F3 diesel there from, I'd like to find another one of those, a dummy or something to go with it. Another thing I'd like to find would be a Western Pacific caboose. And some Western Pacific freight cars too. But I've got two Northern Pacific caboose. That's kind of close to the Western Pacific, a little north of it, but kind of close. I'd like to hopefully I'll find me a Western Pacific caboose. There, that way I'll have a caboose that matches an engine. I'd also like to find a Milwaukee Road caboose. Another one I need that'll match an engine I happen to have. You know, that way I feel like I don't have to run Northern Pacific caboose with my Milwaukee Road caboose. Another one that's fairly close to the Milwaukee Road as well. I guess I could just take and repaint everything into my own home roads colors. No, I like having actual railroads here. I know I've got a nice eclectic collection, because after all, I've also got some Union Pacific, some New York Central, and a little bit of Pennsy. I have Pennsy caboose. I have a New York Central caboose. I have some Lackawanna F units and a Lackawanna caboose. So, you know, to me that makes a nice complete train. And another thing that makes a nice complete train is having a caboose, you know, go by. It tells you it's the end of the train, right? None of this Fred stuff on my railroad. Anyway, it'll be at the National Guard Armory. The show will be in Crystal River, Florida, on Venable Street, right near the Citrus County Airport. Be a nice place to go visit. If you're in the area on that day, or if you live in that area, be sure to come by and visit us. Buy all of my HO rolling stock, please. I'm going to have a little more O-gauge rolling stock for sale. I've got those old Pennsylvania Congressional Limited passenger cars from the old Williams Reproductions days. Remember Williams Reproductions? Not Williams trains of later on, which were much better quality cars. But these cars are Williams reproductions. They're aluminum cars. They're nice cars. They need decent trucks on them to be truly operable. I've tried running them on this railroad. They don't want to stay on the track at all. I think I've gotten one car to go around the loop without derailing once. So and I've got 4 of those cars. You know, the cars, while they're okay, they're in good shape for what they are. That's just not my type of rolling stock, really. Even though I like the cars just fine. Another thing I'll be looking for at that show will be a Hudson. I like my Hudsons. I don't have any Hudsons, but I want a Hudson. Do you think I'll find one within my budget? No, probably not. If I do, I'll consider myself very fortunate and I'll be coming home with it. Even if it means I don't get any new cabooses or new boxcars or other freight cars. If I see a Hudson that I can, you know, put my money into without having to, and it can be a Lionel, it can be a Williams, it can be a K-line for all I care. Just so long as it's a Hudson. I'll even bring a junker home if you sell it to me cheap enough. And put it back together myself. So, that's the way that goes. Anyway, like I said, there wasn't too much to report. I didn't get a whole lot done on the railroad this week. I'm doing a little cleanup today. Yesterday, I didn't get out here to the train room at all. Yesterday, and it was a beautiful sunny day yesterday. But I didn't get out here at all. I just didn't feel like getting up off of that chair. I had a rough week last week as far as jobs go. We didn't have a whole lot of jobs come in. So, didn't really make a whole lot of money last week. So, I'm hoping that this week will be a little bit better. And that I can put a little money, if this week turns out anything like last week, then the train show, I'm going to have to depend on what I sell at the train show to get me anything, if you get my drift. I'm hoping that doesn't happen this week. I do have a job for tomorrow, so, and chances are I might be at this place for several days or for all week. I don't know. That would certainly pan out for me monetarily. And then, of course, if it goes into next week, now the following week, my wife does have an appointment at the cancer center. So, no, she does not have cancer. Not that we know of, anyway. Do any of us really know until it's too late that we have cancer? Probably not. No, she's not going there for cancer. She has kidney issues. And the cancer places, the places that specialize in cancer and chemo and all of that, they do things other than just cancer. So they take care of patients for kidney specialists and things like that. So, and that's what she goes there for. Been doing that for years now. Yes, I would like a B unit with that. I'd like another A unit with that too. I like that Western Pacific scheme. That was, believe it or not, their passenger scheme, where it was nearly an all-silver locomotive with that orange stripe going down the side. The freight scheme was dark green with the orange stripe going down the side. And it was a good-looking engine also. Very handsome engines. Very handsome engines. And I think K-Line did them justice there. K-Line really did them justice. So I can't really bitch and moan about that. Yes, I'd like to get me another A unit. I'd like to get the master unit to that. Although I would probably never put the circuit boards back in there. I'd probably just go ahead and make that one run on a just make it go one direction also, because I'm cheap. I was watching Nick's Crossing, his channel, yesterday, and he had just brought out a new video. Yeah, that was yesterday, Saturday the 28th or the 29th, something like that. I think today's the 30th, isn't it? Yeah, tomorrow's the last day of the month. Okay. On how he made a beautiful K-Line F7 catch fire. You know, it's on fire, you know, and did this with electronics. And I got to thinking, you know, one thing I miss is being able to go down to, one thing I miss is going to, just going down the street, because we used to have a Radio Shack right up here on State Road 50, and had another one over in town by our bank, off of 41 and State Road 50, where the bypass comes in. And, shoot, let me see this. There it is. Yeah, I got a little dirt on my screen there. Nice to be able to look at the screen and flip the screen. I finally got a decent, well, what I consider a decent camcorder here. Anyway, I miss being able to go down to Radio Shack. So I thought, well, I wonder if they're still even around. Because they've been out of business. They haven't had a store in our area for years. Because I used to love to go and get my little electronic components, you know, and since I had gotten out of model railroading altogether for several years there, it was, yeah, it didn't matter when they, you know, it didn't matter to me that they took and, you know, basically closed up shop and left. It mattered. Now, of course, I don't have an electronics store I can go to where I can see and touch the components and see what I'm going to pick up and put things to good use. You can't get the transistors and the stuff anymore that you need, and the semiconductors and everything that you'd need, and you can still get them, but now you've got to go online. You got to go on Amazon or someplace like that, or someplace that specializes in electronics that wants a lot more money than those things are worth. And I find that you probably get the best deals at Amazon. So, with that being said, it's just something about not having Radio Shack around anymore, you know, to be able to go and get your stuff. And you know, I have a friend that I grew up with. Now, in the Denver area where we grew up, we had hobby shop. We had Little Town Hobbies in Littleton, where we lived. You know, and we get most of our model cars there, and some model trains, not much. He had HO&N. And he didn't carry any of the AHM stuff. He didn't carry any River Rossi stuff at all. No AHM whatsoever. He refused to. He said that the stuff just... Well, in those days, AHM was considered garbage. And no, it was... You look at... There's AHM locomotives running today that have been running since the 1960s and 70s. So, you know, but back then it was considered junk. You know, when you're talking about the HO scale stuff. They had some O scale stuff. I got an AHM boxcar that I found at a show. I've got several Polo Maxi cars. They're good cars. They roll well. And you got to switch out the couplers. You got to get rid of the crap couplers and put KDs on it, or if you put Lionel trucks with couplers on them. A lot of people did. And I've got a Polomaxi gondola. So that was all sold under AHM back in the 60s and 70s. But he says that, you know, he's living up near up there in Boise, near Boise, Idaho now. He says that they get one train show a year. One. And of course, it's one of those great train shows, the world's greatest hobby, or whatever they call it, or the Great Train Scale and Dollhouse Show, or whatever they call it. And he of course he goes there, but he says that, you know when I go to a train show, I pay about $25 a table. Well, the one we had down there in Newport Richey was only $20 a table, but it was only 6-foot tables too. But you get up here in Brooksville or in Crystal River, you've got 8-foot tables, so he charges $25 a table. Not bad. But he was telling me that he was talking to one of the guys there about, you know, renting space at that venue. And, of course, it's one of the major shows. So the major shows, I mean, that's on a par with Greenberg and, well, nobody's on a par with York. York is in a class by itself. The RPM shows, a lot of them, the vendor tables are so expensive. So expensive. Getting a vendor booth, he said that this guy had like 3 or 4 tables. He had to pay like $100 a table. Are you kidding me? Dang. He said there's no hobby shops left in the Boise area that carry model trains. He says the nearest one is like 2 hours away from him. He said, I know that feeling, because when I first moved down here in 1994, we didn't have any hobby shops in Spring Hill. We didn't have Dana's Railroad Supply then. He came in later. He came in. That's a hobby. His store is a hobby to him. He owned a hobby shop up north. Dana did. So anyway, my friend in Boise, he said that they have like one hobby shop that even remotely carries trains, and then, you know, just like everyone else, they're carrying junk. You know, they carry the crap that everybody brings back to them, right? Like Bachman. Yeah. And they'll carry a little HO in. Now, he's an HO himself, which that's fortunate for him. I have no plans on switching back to HO. I can't. I like HO. I like N. I'd like to try S-gauge or S-scale one day, but no, O-scale is, it's the bane of my existence. I must have O-scale. I noticed a lot of the time up at and now, of course, this is just what I see in videos, because I've never been to York. But I imagine the stuff there is probably more expensive than what I would run into, say, down here at one of the Regal shows. Zitnik goes to York, and he says that he does pretty good there. I imagine that he drives an 18-wheeler up there or something, loaded, front to back. But he gets up there. He says that they do real good at the York show. I don't doubt it. He probably would do good at Greenberg and numerous other shows as well. But I imagine that his fees are through the roof. You get somebody there like, let's see, I think Mr. Muffin of Mr. Muffin's Trains, Stephen Nelson, I think his name is. He said something to the effect that he's very upset with the people at York. He said he's not going back to York. He said that in one of his videos, and he said that, you know, you get 17 tables, and that goes into the thousands of dollars at York. So you can only imagine what a show like York costs to not only attend, but maybe to do vending there. That's quite a bit of money. I don't think I could afford to do that. I can't even afford to get out of the state of Florida. What are you talking about? I'd get to the state line, have to turn around and come back because I'd be out of money just buying the gas. We can thank the Biden for that. But when you take all these things into consideration, I understand that York's going to be more expensive. Look at how big of a venue it is by comparison to the little shows that we go to around here. Well, these little shows around here are great. It's the wonderful thing about these little shows. You can generally find stuff at very reasonable cost at these shows, especially when you run into that guy that doesn't really want to pack it back up and take it back home. He's trying to sell that stuff, and that's what you look for when you go in. It's that guy that he ain't looking to take it home. That's fine. I'm looking to take some home. Now, my stuff that I'm trying to sell, I ain't looking to pack that up and take that back home, but I know. And the wife and I, we developed kind of a system. We can be packed up within 15, 20 minutes, and I'm already loading the truck. I'm already loading it back into the back of the pickup truck and getting ready to come home. If we make any money, we'll stop at Sonic and spend a fortune there on the way home. In Crystal River, we will anyway. When we went to the Port Richey show, we went to Golden Corral with this other couple that also does all these does a lot of these Regal shows. But like I said, now going on further down to Pinellas Park, it's not that much further than Newport Richey, but it's far enough I didn't really want to go to it. Much better just to try to stay a little more local at this time. We didn't do all that well. We didn't do bad at Newport Richey, but we didn't do fantastic. And as is usual, I probably spent more money than I made. Now, I did buy out a collection while I was there. I made my money back on that, and that's really all I did. Dana's shows, I don't know, almost every time we attend one of Dana's shows, which is almost every month, I don't really have a good show there, ever. Hardly. Now, am I looking for a good show there? No, because you see, I go out there, I've got the same old crap that I put on the same old tables. Very seldom do I ever have anything new. And then there come that day, that one Saturday out of the whole year. Now, this year we didn't get a good show there at Dana's at all. We really, like I said, the very first show, Hurricane Milton came through the state just 2 days before that. Dana decided to have the show anyway, and it did. It was better for us. It was good that we were out there. All we had there was vendors buying from vendors. That way we at least had some economic activity going on. But it seemed like all the other ones after that, we just didn't. There just wasn't really anything there that was moving. We'd sell some here, we'd sell some there. By the time we hit the February show, we had come to the conclusion we didn't want to come back for March. And then we found out, we got invited to have lunch there, the little banquet thing there. We were invited to have lasagna. Okay, we went to that show in March. And I still enjoy going to the shows. I don't always go to sell. Now, see, there's another thing. If you've got a little money in your pocket already and you don't feel like selling, you don't have to go to a show to sell. You can go to look. And even if you don't find some of the things you want, see, here's my wants. I want some decent kit built or building kits at a good price. I'm not willing to pay the hobby shop price if I don't have to. I don't want to pay full retail for anything. I want a Hudson. Now I know Hudsons, they not only were made by Lionel, but the Lionel Hudson, the scale Hudson, was also made by Williams. And the Williams Hudson was a good looking, and in fact they did a little bit nicer work on, Williams did, on cleaning up the castings for it, for the old Lionel Hudson. And Williams put can motors in them. I like the can motors better. One of the reasons I like those better is I can run those engines on DC if I have to. All of my engines will run on DC. Every one of them. And yeah, I realize that the way the RS3, my MTH RS3, the Rail King, is set up with PS1, it won't run on DC now, but it'll sit there and make noise. But if I pulled all those guts out of it, I could run it on DC. I could run the whole railroad on DC. But I've already got the third rail there. I might as well enjoy the AC, right? And while I can, I might as well enjoy blowing the horns and ringing and dinging the bells as well when I have them. I only have 2 locomotives that actually have sound in them, and that's both of them are Rail King. An RS1 and an RS3, and both of them are scale. Yes, the Rail King RS1 is a scale engine. It used to be a premier engine. That's why back in the 90s, that was one of their premier engines. It's been downgraded to Rail King, probably because most of the a lot of the detail is actually cast on. It's not add-on detail. But it has more add-on details than your typical Rail King locomotive would have. I ran into 2 months there at 2 shows in a row. I picked up the RS3 in Crystal River, of all places, $60. And I picked up the RS1 a month later in Brooksville, right here in Brooksville, at our own local fairgrounds for $60. And of course, it's got PS2 in it, so I have to be kind of careful with that one. Good running engines, though. Great running engines, and they're my best engines on here. They don't like my CW80 transformers, though. And the RS3 won't run on DC. The RS1 will. In fact, in order to change directions on that RS1 running DC, you got to actually use the direction switch on the power pack. You just stop it, throw the switch, and it'll change direction for you. Which I could just do that anyway with all of these engines. I could take and just direct wire everything to the motors and be done with it. Run it all on DC. I thought of doing that. But anyway, just I know this has gone on a little ways now. So I'm going to say this is it for the Withlacoochee River Report for this week. Like I said, there's certain things I'm looking for. Like I said, I'm looking for cabooses this time. I'm looking mainly for specific cabooses. I'm not looking for cabooses just to have cabooses. I'm looking for a Western Pacific caboose, and I'm looking for a Milwaukee Road caboose. Preferably K-Line or MTH, Premier, either one. And if I can find them, that will make me a happy camper. So until next time, happy railroading.